Hello and welcome back to ERU, where we round up the biggest results and talking points from across European football. The results from the international break will be talked about on winners and losers. So me and Mikey McCubbin will be talking about a couple of transfer rumours, one a done deal and one a potentially close to being done deal. But before we get stuck into the show, McCubbs, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, Diggs. Not too bad. First weekend without club football in a long time, hasn't it been? Quite nice actually to have a break. I feel like the final 6 weeks of the season or whatever it is going to be like just end-to-end madness, isn't it? Like, I think it's going to be a particularly mad end to the season in a number of competitions. So yeah, good to have a little bit of respite. Some great results in the international, in the World Cup qualifiers as well. So yeah, all good, Dukes. How about you, Dukes? You've been on holiday. You've been on the slopes.
I have been on holiday. I was skiing in France, which was very nice. We didn't have the best snow, but we had some great weather, and it was also my birthday last Friday as well, so we're doing plenty of celebrating for that. So no, it was a great week. It was nice to have a proper switch off, but yeah, we were all aghast when North Macedonia knocked Italy out in the qualifying rounds. Couldn't believe it. But yeah, we won't be talking about that today, but we are going to talk about a potential done deal involving Barcelona and Leeds United's Raphinha. What's going on with this one, McCabs?
Yeah, I think this is a rumour that everyone will have seen by now. We actually discussed it on Continental Club a bit, so yeah, go and check that out after this. But yeah, we wanted to break down kind of the news, the latest basically on this kind of Raphinha to Barcelona rumour. The former Rennes star, who's obviously playing in his second season for Leeds United, is supposedly available for just 25 million. Not sure whether that's pounds or euros. This comes from Fabrizio Romano. Didn't specify the currency, but if Leeds go down, that's what he will apparently be available for. That's something that's been rumoured a lot in the last few months, this kind of relegation clause. But now it's been confirmed, 50 million less than what his asking price is otherwise. So yeah, whoever's going in for him. Otherwise, Leeds want around 75 million for him. And according to Romano, personal terms shouldn't be an issue. The Blaugrana have been in talks with Raphinha's agent Deco since February, and yesterday Sport, the Spanish publication, actually reported that the club had agreed a 5-year deal with Raphinha. I guess this would be a verbal agreement, not sure the validity of these reports, but everything is pointing towards Raphinha wanting to go to Barca, which as a Brazilian footballer doesn't surprise me a huge amount that Barca would be his preference over, say, a Liverpool or a Bayern Munich. But with Leeds having won 2 of Jesse Marsch's 4 league games in charge, that takes them 7 points clear of 18th place Watford. They have played a game more than them, but they do look in a stronger position now, don't they, for staying up than they did a few weeks ago. The chances of getting him for that 25 million price tag seem increasingly remote. So Dukes, I wanted to ask you, because we did discuss this a little bit with Zach and Henry. We had a bit of a debate over this on Friday. Do you think Raphinha would be worth 75 million?
It's a tricky one. I don't know what you guys said, because I actually didn't tune into Continental Club on the slopes. I took a week off. I know, shame on me. But I just feel like I'd probably use that money in different areas of the squad, especially having brought Ferran Torres in January for £50 million, especially with Ousmane Dembele's form so strong at the moment. Do they really need another right winger? Probably not. And for that price, I think for 25 million, I think it's an absolute no-brainer. You definitely get him in. Excellent squad player. Still don't know whether Dembele is going to stay or not. It looks like more recently Xavi has made very positive noises about his performances. So it slightly depends on that. But I'd be looking to invest in a long-term striker as a Aubameyang replacement, despite his success so far. I'd probably be looking to get Adama Traore in on a permanent deal as well after his strong start there. And then you're looking to sort of continue to rebuild that defence, a long-term left-back, maybe a right-back as well, and another couple of centre-backs as well. So that feels like there's other priorities for sure. But it is worth saying that the Brazilian is definitely an excellent player. He's contributed 9 goals and 3 assists in 27 league games to date this season, 35% of their total. And considering he had that slight fallout with Marcelo Bielsa towards the Argentinian's end of his spell at Ellen Road, that's a really pretty impressive return. He's averaged 5.1 shot creating actions, so that's shots and key passes per 90 so far this season. That's more than Ferran Torres' 4.6, albeit in a slightly smaller sample size. But Ousmane Dembele's been operating at 6.4, so really getting back to that top form that we saw towards his season at Dortmund and at Rennes before that. But yeah, I just don't feel like it's quite as necessary with Dembele's form, particularly in La Liga recently, being so strong. He's got 7 assists and 1 goal in his last 5 La Liga games. And yeah, if you could use that money to sign Rudiger on the wages he wants, maybe get Christensen in, maybe Rafael Guerreiro we've talked about as a long-term Jordi Alba replacement in the last few weeks. I just think there's other needs in this squad. But Barcelona fans, we mainly want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about this? Are you on my side, thinking that, potentially there's other more necessary areas? Or, actually, I haven't even asked you, McCubs, which side did you fall on in Continental Club?
I mean, I personally, I think just like, I would love to see Raphinha play for Barcelona, because I think he's the kind of player that, would really thrive at the Camp Nou. But yeah, I'm kind of a bit on the fence with this. I think it kind of depends on what Barca managed to do with Dembele, whether he stays or goes, and also whether they decide to sign Adama, because there's been a lot of chat about maybe they just won't sign him in the summer, despite him, having impressed. So I think if they do have that hole on the right-hand side, then Raphinha would be worth looking into. Having said that, we kind of forget that Ansu Fati exists, and obviously he's had a really tough time with injury. But if he does come back into the side, and can stay fit, then he surely takes that left-hand side, and you imagine Ferran Torres would move to the right, which would mean that getting another top signing on the wing isn't really that necessary. So yeah, I think I'm kind of with you, Dukes, that there's more pressing issues in that Barca's team, especially in the long term. Yeah, in places like centre forward and left back.
Yeah, for sure. And also 75 million is an enormous amount of money. I know we've seen Barcelona in the last few years under Bartomeu spend way over that, but I think since 2020 they've only signed 2 players for over 50 million pounds. That's Ferran Torres and Miralem Pjanic, and we all know the latter didn't go too well. So Barcelona, particularly with their finances still a bit so-so, I'd be very worried about spending 75 million pounds on a player that you don't quite need. But guys, let us know in the comments down below, who do you agree with, myself or McCubs? To be fair, I think we both had a pretty similar thoughts. Let us know in the comments down below, and let's move on to our next story.
Now we've got a done deal for you. Very exciting stuff about 2 months before the transfer window reopens. And Dukes, some people may have forgotten about this guy. I certainly had. But yeah, a goalkeeper going to Roma by the name of Mile Svilar. Sorry if I butchered that pronunciation.
No, exactly. It feels like if you weren't a Champions League fan in 2017-18, you probably wouldn't know a whole lot about him because he hasn't played a whole lot of football. But yeah, it was confirmed on Sunday that Benfica's highly rated, although pretty much unknown goalkeeper, Mile Svilar, will join Roma as a free agent in June when his contract expires. The 23-year-old Serbian, who actually represented Belgium in their youth sides, has struggled to displace the Eagles' number 1, Odysseus Vlachodimos, and has still only ever made 20 appearances for the club. But his new manager, Jose Mourinho, is a huge fan. When he was manager of Man United, an own goal from Svela sent Man United... it sent them through from the group stages with a 2-0 victory. And I think it was after that game that there was quite iconic images of... I think it was Rashford and Lukaku sort of consoling Svela, who looked pretty devastated because he was really pretty young at that time. But McCubs, with so little football under his belt, what can we tell the EFD hardcore audience about him?
Yeah, well, he came through at Anderlecht, didn't make a single appearance there, and then signed a 5-year deal with Benfica in 2017. He was only 17 at the time. By the time he made his first appearance in the Champions League, I think he was a month after turning 18. Youngest ever goalkeeper to represent Benfica, then broke Casillas' record for youngest keeper to appear in the Champions League. And it's funny actually, he had 2 really unfortunate games. So in the first game at Benfica, Man United won at 1-0, and it was from a Marcus Rashford very deep free kick, crossed into the box. Svela comes out to claim it, and then kind of jumps back to kind of steady himself and ends up walking over the goal line. So it's like really, really bad stuff. Nightmare debut in the Champions League, essentially. But from what I remember, he did also make some really good saves. Like it wasn't like it wasn't all bad. But obviously, something like that psychologically is really tough. And then in the second game, scores an own goal, which is completely not his fault. It was like a Matic thunderbolt, which bounces off the bar. He had it covered, but then bounces off the bar onto his back and goes in. That was just really unfortunate. Nothing, not really his fault at all. But yeah, I mean, he's still only 22. 5 years later, this is still someone who can very much build a very strong career as a goalkeeper. I expect he would be back up to Rui Patricio next season, but obviously Patricio hasn't been in his best form over the last 2 seasons, really, has he? He's conceded 1.2 more goals than post-shot XG predicts. Not disastrous, but for sure he's an upgradable goalkeeper, I think, at this point. And getting a young, highly talented player like Svilar in can only be a good thing, I think, for the competition between the sticks at the Stadio Olimpico. But yeah, like we said, we've not seen an awful lot of this guy over the last few years. A bit of an unknown entity, but I think Roma's transfer business has been pretty decent over the last year or so. So yeah, I think we should look at this with a bit of optimism. But Roma fans, we want to hear from you. Are you excited by this deal? And what other transfers would you like to see happen at the club in the summer? But that's all we have time for on ERU for this week. Dukes, where should they go next if they want to check out?
Well, I've been quite out of the loop actually, but we've had a couple of football pyramids out. I think it was Danny Pate versus James Wayne at the weekend. They were both feeling a bit under the weather, but they both performed pretty admirably. But a question I wanted to put to our fans before we leave: Henry Hill is on holiday this week. I can't actually remember where. Is he still in Rome? I think he's just done the Rome Marathon. So we need a guest for Continental Club. So comment below with a European football expert you'd love to see on Continental Club this week, and we will do our best to get them lined up for Friday's show.
Wicked, thanks Dukes. Also go and check out Continental Club if you want to hear more Raphinha debate, if you're not sick of it already. Thanks for watching everyone. We'll see you next time.